So we're going to go through and talk about how to write chemical formulas for covalent compounds or come up with the actual names for them. And we saw this in the previous video that we can come up with the chemical formula using bonding. But what we'll do is we're going to go through this note. So remember, you have this note from the ionic lessons. Okay, so this should be all filled in and the answers were posted under the content for lesson 7. And we're going to go over the covalent molecules now. So I'm just going to try to bring this up and move it over, but I don't know if I can do that. How easy I can do that. So, okay, hopefully this is good. Make sure when you watch these videos that you have the ability to make the video full screen. I would really encourage you to do that. It's just easier for you to see everything written. Okay, so we're going to practice some covalent compounds. So a reminder, it has to be two nonmetals. What's going on here? What's going on? Okay. 2 nonmetals that we need in our compound. So, pay attention. If you notice that it's a metal, you have to name it as ionic. Otherwise, we're naming it as covalent. And it says because nonmetals combine in more than one ratio, we must use prefixes. Okay, so prefixes, and here they are, all of them listed for you, to indicate the number of atoms of each element in the formula. So the following prefixes are used. There they are in the chart. It says if the prefix is followed by a vowel, the final A or O is dropped. And then there's an exception. It says the prefix mono is omitted from the first element only. And we saw that and addressed that in the previous video when we were doing the bonding and then coming up with the name. So we only use the prefix mono on the second element. A couple other things just to be aware of here with covalence, so please make these notes, is we do not use the crisscross rule, okay? We don't use it because these are not ionic compounds. We only use the crisscross rule for ionic, and we also never reduce the formula, okay? So we will reduce formulas in ionic compounds, but we don't in covalent. Covalent is simpler and it's different. So we don't use the rules for ionic compounds. So let's go through, and there's 4 examples here. I'm going to name or come up with the formula for each of these. So let's deal with this one first. So N2O. Okay, so nitrogen and oxygen are listed on your periodic tables. You should see that those are nonmetals. So we're going to use covalent nomenclature, which is using prefixes. So I have 2 nitrogens. I have to write dinitrogen, and then I have 1 oxygen. So I use IDE on the second element, and I indicate that there's only one of them. So I will say monoxide. Okay, so dinitrogen monoxide is the name of that one. The one below it, there is 2 nitrogens and 5 oxygens. So it's still dinitrogen. So again, full name of the first element. And then the second element, there's 5 of them. So again, prefix for 5 is penta, and we say pentaoxide. Okay, there's an O there. If we go over to the names of the other 2 compounds that are listed here, I have carbon monoxide. Okay, so remember, if there is only 1 atom of the first element, they do not state the prefix mono. Okay, I don't know why, folks. I didn't make the rules, but that's just the way it happens, okay? So I can tell from here that I have 1 carbon, and then I have monoxide. So then I have 1 oxygen. And there's my formula, CO. The next one that's there's phosphorus tribromide. Okay, so if there's no prefix in front of phosphorus, I know that I only have 1 phosphorus in the formula. And then bromide would be bromine. And there's a tribromide. So that means that I have 3 bromines. So again, notice that we're not using the crisscross rule. Okay, don't use it. And we're not reducing if we can, right? We couldn't in those particular examples. So just be aware of that. Covalent compounds are much simpler than ionics. Okay, you have several to try here. And then there's some hydrates down at the bottom. These are ionic, okay? So they're not covalent. If you're interested in trying these on your own, go for it. But I am not going to force you to do the hydrates, okay? So we're just going to focus on those ionic compounds that we talked about the other day, and then these simple covalent compounds here as well. Okay, good luck.